Hey guys, Heath here, Shepherd's Kitchen. Um, Hopefully most of you have seen the first video that I posted, which is um, Steve from One Off Forge came over to Shepherd's Forge for once. Yeah, Steve came and worked in my shop, even though my anvil is way too low for him. The reason we did this is several times we've tried to make Damascus at his place, and we're very unsuccessful. I think a large portion of that is because we just weren't pushing his burners as hard as we could. When Steve bought them, it said to run them at 2 psi. We've had it up to 5 and have gotten some really strong heats on things. But we were just unsuccessful doing Damascus. But we think now we know how to fix the problem. It was really cool to have Steve in my shop. I put together 3 between 10 and 15 stacked billets of farrier's file, circular saw blade, and 15N20. Got those all cleaned up, cut up, and went to Steve's, welded them together, came back to my place, fired up my forge, turned that bad boy on full blast. And one advantage I have is a pyrometer. So I know that between, let's say, 19 and 2200 degrees, at least according to my pyrometer, which sits right next to the burner. So, I mean, it's going to vary. But I know that between those two heats, I can forge weld Damascus because I have done it. And, Steve's never made Damascus. So we wanted to give this a shot, and I kind of wanted to show him, basically how hot you have to get that to forge weld correctly, just so he could see it, because he's never done it. And we had an extreme amount of success. I was very happy. I told him, I said, man, if this didn't work out, I was going to have to make a video and just call myself a fraud and be like, yeah, I've never done it. I bought Damascus and called it my own. Anyway, one of the things I wanted to talk about before I show you the billets that we made are 2 hammers. It's flatter. Now, we used this, basically when I got my billet up to forge welding temp, I did a little bit of tapping on it to get those top layers, starting to forge weld in. But we used this to set on top of there and hammer down on it to start pressing them down. And I'm telling you, if you've never tried it, if you've never tried using one of these, they make a world of difference. The amount of even pressure we were putting down on that billet was phenomenal, and you can feel it. You can actually feel how square these things hit. And so we just moved it up the billet back and forth, flipped it, and just kept doing it until we felt we had a great forge weld. This was such a blessing. Steve was just like, dude, that thing is awesome. I'm so glad you bought it. The other hammer I want to talk about is the CLF, County Line Forge. This thing is a friggin' beast. We used this, just this and the flatter, all day long, with the exception of a big 4-pound hand sledge to start drawing out the process. But otherwise, we pretty much used this, and it's an awesome hammer. Steve and I both really enjoyed using it. It feels comfortable. It's well balanced. This was worth every penny. I have no problem admitting that. Worth every penny. It's just built right. Great hammer. Really enjoyed using it. Really enjoyed using it. I'm stoked. That is the hammer Shepherd's Forge is keeping in Shepherd's Forge. That's my hammer. So this is Steve's billet. As you can see, pretty flat, pretty true. Obviously we have sacrificial ends because, as you all know, Damascus does not. You never get the ends to forge weld right. So I'm not sure what he plans on doing with this, but mine I left a little shorter, quite a bit thicker. My idea was actually to make some paring knives. and I wanted to leave enough material on there so that I'm pretty sure I can get 2 out of this. So that was my goal. And I haven't decided, but I might do a raindrop on this maybe or something. I haven't decided. I'm not sure if it's thick enough for that, but time goes on, as it plays out, we'll see what happens. But these are the billets that we made today, the Damascus billets. And they were only, I mean, probably 1.5 inches wide by 2.5, maybe 3 inches long. They were small billets, but as you can see, there's more than enough material there to get a blade out of. Yes, higher layer content looks better. In fact, the way I've done most of mine is to do a billet like I just said, get it to about this width and this length, make another one the exact same thing, and then clean it all up, and then forge weld the 2 together, and then draw that out, and then make another 2, and do that, and then take those 2 and put them together. That's how I've been getting my layer content up, really high. The only problem with that is that it is super, super time consuming. It just is, but if you don't have a press, you don't have a power hammer, that's how you can get your layer count up. Anyway, Steve was really excited, and Steve doesn't get excited about Damascus. He's like, whatever, it's pretty, but whatever. I haven't seen that guy this excited about Damascus ever. He was pretty excited that the whole billet worked out great. Everything came out the way it was supposed to. It worked. We had a success, and he was real happy about that. So anyway, you guys will obviously see in the future, what we do with these billets and how they come out. I'm sure I will be the one doing all the hand sanding on them. Yeah, I probably will be. But anyway, guys, just wanted to do a follow-up video to the one of us working in my shop, which was really cool. Steve had a good time. I had a great time. We managed to do both these billets off of one tank of those little grilling propane tanks that you use on your gas grill. We managed to get two billets out of that and hold at like 2100 degrees the whole time. So that was quite successful. I mean, I've got 2 of them, so I was ready to swap out when necessary, but we didn't need to. That was awesome. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to show and share. Thanks again, County Line Forge. Amazing hammer. I mean, this was a pleasure to use. I can't even say that enough. It was a pleasure to use this hammer. If any of you out there are looking into possibly spending a little money to buy a really, really good quality hammer, County Line Forge has got them for sale. I would highly suggest buying one. They're great. I'm happy just to have the hammers that I do from amazing makers. Hans Groff, Jason from HOJ Forge, and now James Davis from County Line. Very happy. Like I said, this one came from Slovenia. I found it on Etsy. I knew I wanted to have a flatter. I didn't know how much use I'd get out of it, but I knew I wanted to have one. And the price wasn't bad. It took like 2 months to get to me because obviously, I mean, this is hand forged as well. I mean, it wasn't just like made out of machine or anything. I mean, I can't pronounce the guy's name, but he puts an R in it. Again, if you're doing Damascus by hand, this is phenomenal. Like, basically, I would set it up, and Steve would come down with that 4-pound sledge, and we'd get those welds set, and they set quick. Because this thing creates such an even top pressure. It's not, a small hammer face that you have to hit, in different spots. This is smack, move it, smack, move it, smack, and it was just even pressure the whole time. It was a treat to use, and I think it really helped us in getting our forge welds to stay. So anyway, from Heath here, Shepherd's Forge. Hope everybody's having a great time. We'll catch you on the next video. Stay humble, guys. Bye.